Good evening, everybody. Rod Baker with God and Rod. And I'm starting to get rejuvenated after battling two different strains of COVID at the same time. And I'm healing nicely. So thank you for any and all concern. So I wanted to start a series right now on sound doctrine. Okay, I don't know how long this will last, but I'm going off of a scripture in Titus that, and then also we'll be, throwing in some other things. But we seem to have, and always really have had, quite a few people who have not convictions. They have not convictions. They seem to live waywardly, almost principleless. One of the things that I learned in my early 30s was called eternal values. And those have been extremely helpful for me. But there's a thing called sound doctrine. Now, doctrine is a set of beliefs. All right? It's a set of beliefs. Let's say that you believe in being gentlemanly. And of course, I'm referring this in the male sense because it's easy for me to do. But let's say that being gentlemanly, opening doors for people. And it's not just about, running around being polite to women. It's about being polite to everyone. That's gentlemanly. There's a broad kindness to you. Okay. Which, let me tell you, at 55 years old, reaps a lot of good karma, a lot of good abundance, a lot of good prosperity, being kind. There was a saying for a long time that said, no good deed went unpunished, and that is not true. That's a lie from the pits of hell. All good deeds get rewarded. They do. Unless you scrub them with the non-good deeds. And then, you're just blanking it out. So, but there is this thing called sound doctrine. And again, I'm taking this from a biblical standpoint because it is, the Bible is basic instruction before leaving earth it's an acronym for that. My dad taught me that, actually. So, you can't go wrong with a book that's been around for a long time, especially if you're into books that are motivating, encouraging, inspiring, self-help books. You might as well give the Bible a try, even if you took one book out of it and studied that and tried to live by that principle. Just by that principle. Proverbs is a good example. Proverbs is a book of wisdom. Simplistic, straightforward, 32 chapters, I believe. And so I'm gonna start this because, and this is why. Let me explain why. Charles Barkley said one time that he was not a role model. Charles, you are. There are people who still pay attention to you, still listen to you. Of course, Shaq's not one of them, but we still need to be examples. And those of us who are willing to step up and be the better men, Michael Jordan was a very good example of that. Okay? I had no trouble with his gambling because he can afford to gamble. Okay? He can afford to. And it's between him, somebody else on the golf course, or him betting on something else. But he never bet on basketball. He never had to. He didn't. He didn't have to, Charles. But Charles, you are a role model. We men are role models. Now, whether you're a decent one or not is, a whole lot to do with your desire to be, your principles, your eternal values, your sound doctrine. So we're going to do a little sound doctrine stuff. In the book of Titus in the Bible, very small book, in chapter 2, it starts off like this. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. So not only do you develop sound doctrine, but you also teach it. In Alcoholics Anonymous, when I got clean and sober, I got a sponsor. And that sponsor, Steve Hall, he is the one who taught me the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. Taught me how to live sober. He passed that on to me as my sponsor. I've been listening to men talk about the lack of good men out there, and women too, of course. Women have always said that, though. They've always said that. Until you can believe in something greater than yourself, something that holds you accountable. See, and that's the thing. Nobody wants to be held accountable. They don't. They don't want to. They don't want to stay in their lane. They think freedom comes from no responsibility. And that's not true at all. True freedom, true liberty comes from standing up for what you believe. That's freedom. To be able to have those beliefs is true freedom. So let us go on to sound doctrine. But speak though the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober. You think you fellas can pull that off? You think you've got enough discipline? Is one thing I had to respect about Donald Trump, no matter what else I thought about him, or no matter what else anybody else thought about him, is that he was sober-minded. He did not use drugs, and he did not drink. I'm not sure if he ever did. That the aged men be sober, grave, which means to be serious, be authentic, be serious, temperate. Temperate is controlled, self-control. Sound in faith, have faith, be sound in it. In charity, which can be love, in your giving, and in patience. See, if you just took those things, if you just taught sobriety, authenticity, seriousness, faith, love, and patience. Can you imagine the world if we just taught those things as aged men? I watch TikTok a lot, and there's some old G's out there that can still whoop a little tail. And they carry, and they're packing, but they'll whoop some tail. Isn't it worth fighting for? Isn't sound doctrine worth teaching? Isn't it worth standing up for? Preaching, teaching? Even if it's just a kid down the street that doesn't have somebody teaching them that. A grandchild, a niece, a nephew, or a nephew for us aged men. Isn't it worth it? Do you want to change the world? I pray so. So that's going to be the first addition to sound doctrine, is for aged men. Thank you. For those of you who pay attention, please like, subscribe to my channel if you want, and share this. Please. Women, share it with some men. If you just sent it to 5 men and 2 of them watched it and 1 of them listened, we can change the world. We can change the world. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference. Father, I pray that any that hear this desire sound doctrine. Thank you.